March 3rd, 2021, Franklin County Commissioner John O'Grady got this call from then Zoo Director Tom Stalf about a story that would break in the Columbus Dispatch.
I wanted to give you a heads up that I've had a call from a reporter from a source that we believe is an ex-employee saying things about our CFO and myself using zoo assets for family use, and this article that they're thinking about running might run as early as tomorrow. I'd like to talk to you about it.
We were very shocked, and as soon as we found out, we called for this to be made public.
A forensic audit was done. It alleged Stalf, former CEO Greg Bell, former Director of Marketing Peter Fingerhut, and former Director of Purchasing Tracy Murnane had used zoo assets to obtain items for personal use, such as concert tickets, sporting events, golf club memberships, trips, and more. It also discovered Stalf and Bell allowed relatives to rent 2 homes owned by the zoo. The men's alleged actions costing the zoo almost $632,000 in losses. Franklin County taxpayers contribute $20 million a year to the zoo, a quarter of the zoo's annual budget. O'Grady says no taxpayer money was touched. 2 years later, a 90-count indictment.
In simple terms, the bank hired the robbers to work security.
Stalf, Bell, and Fingerhut accused of operating a criminal enterprise to hijack the zoo's purse strings and colluding to conceal their thievery. Murnane was not charged. But 13 other parties are listed as members of the enterprise. Prosecutors say the alleged illegal activity cost the zoo almost $2.3 million.
There may be additional charges. I'm not guaranteeing that. But these 3 did not act without the knowledge of others, and I'm going to leave it at that. Stay tuned.
The indictment said Stalf, Fingerhut, and Bell conspired to develop and execute a way to mask personal spending, and that by using a system of codes, they were able to get past the accounting system and checks and balance system which the zoo had in place. When zoo staff challenged questionable expenses, they were ignored. It also said the board of directors was not aware of and did not endorse the conduct of Stalf, Bell, Fingerhut, or anyone else who may have broken the law in this enterprise. Which brings me back to the question, what did the board really know?
As a board member, you don't want to get into micromanaging, but you do want to know what's going on.
Cedarville University's Brian Schroll is an expert in nonprofit law. He says being a nonprofit board member comes with responsibilities.
You should know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, what the budget is, and certainly ask questions, understanding you're not in the day-to-day, so you're not going to know everything, but there should be some questions asked so you know what's going on. You can't just stick your head in the sand.
I wanted to get a better idea of whether the board was involved in some of these financial decisions. I asked for the board's archived minutes from meetings between 2015 and 2021. What about that trip to the Galapagos Islands? Was there any possible conflict of interest? The request shut down. The zoo saying due to the Attorney General's open and ongoing investigation and prosecution, we have been advised by the legal counsel not to release those requested board minutes at this time. The zoo says it's dedicated to transparency and accountability. But our repeated requests for interviews with board members and zoo leaders have been denied. The zoo saying since the Ohio Attorney General was now investigating and additional indictments could come, neither our zoo leadership and staff nor the board of directors will participate in media interviews related to these issues at this time.
If you're using your prudent care and you are setting up policies and you're asking the questions, and then somebody is like being really good at taking the money out and just there was no way you could reasonably know, then you can say, well, I didn't know. I took all the steps I could reasonably take to keep that from happening, and it happened anyway. But if you're not setting up the policies, you're not asking the questions, you're not doing financial reviews, you're not doing an audit, and something happens, then you can't say, well, I didn't know, because you didn't take any steps to know.
O'Grady says at one time there were 48 people split between 2 separate zoo boards.
One to oversee public funds and the other to oversee all the other operations or all the other things that would go on at the zoo.
And at times,
one would not know what the other one was doing. And so it was a very awkward, cumbersome way of doing business.
O'Grady says there are now 19 board members, some appointed by the county, some appointed by the city. Whether more people are charged remains to be seen.
The investigation's ongoing,
And beyond that, I'm not at liberty to talk, except to say we haven't closed the book on this. An investigation is like pulling at a ball of string. You don't know where the end is until you get to the end.
And until you get to the end, you never know how many other knots there are to untangle. On your side in Columbus, I'm Terry Sullivan, ABC6 Investigates.